Hey everybody, what's up? Fred McKinnon here with eBusiness Online. Hope you're doing well. eBusiness Online, we are a professional Amazon e-commerce consulting company. We do both hourly consulting, project consulting, and also full white glove, full service account management to help you sell your products on Amazon or Walmart or other third-party marketplaces. Today, I'm going to be sharing about choices I'm trying to make as a seller importing a 40-foot high-capacity container from China. There's a lot of people talking right now about the best way to get inventory into Amazon in light of all of the new fees that were introduced back on March 1st. We had the new inventory placement fees, IPFs, I call those. There's also a new low inventory fee that Amazon has. If your inventory levels fall below a certain threshold, Amazon likes to hit you up with yet another fee there. So I'm in the midst of trying to make a decision about a 40-foot container full of widgets that are underneath one of the brands that I manage and sell. And what is my best option? So in this video, I'm going to kind of give you a walkthrough of the research I've been doing on a comparison between bringing in this 40-foot container of widgets from China to AWD, which is Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, which is Amazon's kind of bulk upstream reserve storage program, or to a 3PL that is different. The 3PL in particular that I'm going to discuss today, I like to call it Deliverr, Deliverr, with an extra R on the end, because that's what they've been to me for years. They're now owned by Flexport. So in the branding, you will see the words Flexport. Quick little bio there. Over the years, Deliverr started using them to help fulfill Walmart orders. And then over time, Deliverr was bought out by Shopify Logistics. And then shortly thereafter, Shopify Logistics part got bought out by Flexport, who was already well known in the e-commerce world as a big freight broker. A lot of people were using Flexport, one of the largest freight brokers, to bring in ocean containers, less than containers, things like that, overseas back into the United States and so forth. So Flexport now owns Deliverr. Because I've called it Deliverr for years, you may hear me call it Deliverr instead of Flexport. Just know that those two terms are being used interchangeably. But let's take a look at the whole situation and what I've got coming on here. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the shipment. This shipment is coming from China. It is a 40-foot HC, high capacity container, which it just means it holds a little bit larger than a 40-foot container. In the particular container, I have 701 cartons. Each carton has 8 units, so that's a total of 5,608 units. This container is floor loaded, meaning that the supplier is loading those master cartons and stacking them up in the container. They are not palletized. They will be palletized once they are received by either my 3PL, which in this case is Deliverr, or AWD, Amazon Warehousing and Distribution. But yeah, so we're talking about a big 40-foot container, 701 cartons, 5,608 units. That is 8 units per carton. All right. Now, the first thing I needed to do when I'm comparing these prices is I needed to figure out exactly how many pallets is this going to be. And I'm not exactly sure what that would look like on the Amazon side, but I do know on the Flexport side that they will unload this container and they will palletize it. And because of the size of their racks, so that they lift up, and insert the pallets on vertical racks, there's a 60-inch clearance. So although you can send pallets as high as 90 inches into Flexport, they chop them down to 60 inches or less when they get in there. So the first thing I do, I've got this tool that I've used over the years, and I found it just by Googling, TiHi, Pallet TiHi calculator. And I don't have any association with this website, anything like that, but it's called packair.com, as you can see here in my URL, packair.com. And it's just really, really, really cool Pallet TiHi calculator. TiHi is TiHi is a term you'll hear people using that refers to the number of layers, rows and layers that you can stack on a pallet. And so I wanted to figure that out. So I came in here and in my pallet calculator, I defined my master pallet, my master cartons, 16.73 inches, wide, 21.46 long, 13.58 inches high, and then the weight is 13 kilograms. 40 by 48 is the typical pallet size, and then I set a loading height of 60. And then what I did is I hit calculate, and it shows me that because of the size of those cartons, I can only get 4 cartons per layer. Only 4. It's not great. They're not allowed to overhang over the side. So once I've defined that and I get it in there, I hit select, and it finally tells me what my total TiHi is, which is 4 by 4. 4 on a layer times 4 layers high. So I can only get 16 boxes per pallet if it conforms to the rules that they have at Flexport, that the pallet can't be more than 60 inches high. So I took that and I divided it by my number of boxes, and so I come out to be 44 pallets. And that's important when we get into the calculation. Now, let's take a look over at some of the different fees. I have 2 tabs open in my browser. One is for AWD, which stands for Amazon Warehousing and Distribution. The other is Flexport, which is showing all of their fees. Now, if you're interested in using AWD, it's right inside your Amazon seller account under Store and Distribute. You can sign up for it there. Flexport is, like I say, it's just one of many 3PLs. It's one that I've used now since they were Deliverr. I will have a link to it in the show notes for this video. It will be a referral link, which will give you, an extra deal. If you choose to click our referral link, we get a little something back for that, and you also get like so many months for free or things like that. It'll be a good deal for you. The details of that offer will be in the comments or in the description here of the YouTube video. All right. But anyway, let's come over here and let's just kind of jump through and look at some of these different fees. Okay. So I have Amazon warehousing and distribution fees. I'll link to this also in the comments, but you will need to be logged into your Seller Central account to be able to access this, because this is part of the seller help area. You can also find this in Seller Central by going to the help menu and simply clicking on typing in AWD and hitting enter. And this will be one of the first results that you get here. So what we find out really quickly is, I'll put on the old glasses. You find out that there's a storage fee of either 48 cents per cubic foot per month or 36 cents per cubic foot per month, all right? Depending on if you're paying the base rate or the integrated rate. And the way that you get the integrated rate is by using AGL, Amazon Global Logistics. So that's their freight broker. So you need to use them in order to get these integrated rates, all right? If you're not going to get the integrated rates, it's almost like not even worth doing it. But then there's a processing fee and a transportation fee. All right, the storage fee is what you pay for all of your product to be stored in Amazon warehousing and distribution warehouses. A reminder, okay, this is not an FBA warehouse. It's not the same. All right, so when you're at AWD, this is bulk reserve storage for Amazon. And so if a customer places an order, that order is not going to be fulfilled from AWD. You still have to get your inventory from AWD into FBA, fulfilled by Amazon warehouses. Now, AWD takes care of that for you, but for the sake of this, just keep in mind, they're not the same thing, okay? So, and obviously because of the storage rate, you're paying 36 cents per cubic foot per month, all right? Which is more than half what you would pay in Amazon FBA. So you're 36 cents per cubic foot in AWD. You'd probably be paying 80 cents plus if it were in an FBA warehouse. So definitely cheaper to store it here. Now here is the AWD processing fee, and that's where we're going to figure out what it costs for us to actually get all of our stuff there. For that container to be unloaded, sorted, stacked, palletized, everything else. And Amazon makes it real simple on the integrated rates. They're just going to charge me $2.13 per box. All right. Now, the transportation fee is what it costs to transfer your product from AWD into either Amazon FBA or other third-party places that you want to fulfill orders from. So if you have all of your inventory sent to AWD, when it goes into FBA, you're going to be paying 85 cents per cubic foot. Again, this is the discounted integrated rates, assuming that you're getting those rates. You're going to pay 85 cents per cubic foot. And the beautiful thing about this is that's really cheap, because that's the freight, that's everything, right? That's all inclusive. And Amazon, when your inventory is at AWD, they will put it into FBA. And when they do that, number one, you don't have to pay inventory placement fees. So this whole debacle that's happened since March 1st, where you have to do Amazon optimized splits and all these, placement fee, you don't have to deal with that, okay? AWD, when they drip it into your FBA warehouses, there is no placement fees. So you get around that completely. Also, if you're utilizing AWD and you have it set to automatically just continually refill the fulfillment by Amazon, FBA warehouses as needed, you're also immune from that low inventory fee. So that's some huge advantages of using AWD. All right, now let's say that you have everything in this container going to AWD. You definitely want it dripping into FBA, but you also want it, maybe you want to have some come to your own warehouse, or maybe you want to send some to Walmart Fulfillment Services, to WFS, or to Deliverr to another 3PL, something like that. That costs a little more. That's called a multi-channel distribution. And when you do that, instead of 85 cents per cubic foot, it is $1.65 per cubic foot. And, you're going to have a different processing fee here, okay? When it goes out, instead of being $2.13, it'll be $2.50 per box if your seller counts on the base rate, or $2.13 a box if it's on the integrated rate. So that, that doesn't change. And this fee happens when you actually send something out. So in the example of this 40-foot container, I'm not paying anything to get that brought into AWD, but when I decide to send it out, that's when I'm paying $2.13 per box and 85 cents per cubic foot to go to Amazon FBA. But if I'm going to Walmart fulfillment warehouses, if I'm going to, let's say, Wayfair fulfillment houses, or I want to bring a couple of pallets into my own warehouse here in Georgia so that I can hands-on fulfill specific orders for some reason, or maybe I have some retail partners that I want these widgets to go to, well, then I'm going to be paying, this processing fee per box, but I'm also going to be paying a little bit higher of a transportation cost. Still relatively cheap for a transportation cost by all means, all right? So hopefully you kind of understand a little bit more about that and what would happen if you were sending things to AWD. All right, so now I want to take a look at my other option. Instead of AWD, I want to send it to Deliverr, or Flexport, as they're now called, Flexport. All right, well, they're going to have a different way of doing this altogether. And we take a look at their chart here, and you can see they have a flat rate of $650 to unload that container. So I'm looking at $650 right there to get that done. And then in addition to that, they're going to charge me a pallet fee to palletize it. And that's down here for a pallet, a supplied pallet at $16 per pallet. Now, I'd done my math earlier, and I was going to need 44 pallets, right? So 44 pallets times 16, that's $704 in pallet charges, plus $650 to receive. So I'm all in for $1,354 on getting that 40-foot container unloaded and palletized at Deliverr, okay? Now, back over here at AWD, I'm not necessarily paying that to get everything done, but I know there were 702 boxes. And at some point when those boxes go out, I'm going to pay $2.13 per box. So that's $1,495.26. So ultimately, a little bit more there. When we come down into the storage fees, Deliverr doesn't do it by cubic foot. They do it by pallets. All right. Your very first month, it's cheap. It's only $14 per pallet. So if you're landing that container at Deliverr, Flexport, and then you're pretty quickly moving a lot of that product out over into FBA, Fulfillment Network, or to Walmart, or to wherever else, your first month, you're only paying $14 per pallet. So even at 44 pallets times 14, that's only $600 that I'm paying there in my first month. But it almost doubles. It goes to $25 per month after that when you're still there. Let's say I still had all 44 pallets there. Well, now I'm getting into an $1,100 per month in storage. And that's for the month 2 through 12. You definitely don't want to have that stuff palletized and stay in there more than a year, 12 months, or it jumps up to $60. All right. So, and then here's your outbound fees. You know, they have, it depends on if you're sending individual cartons out or if you're sending individual pallets out. If you're sending individual pallets out, it's $14 per pallet. If it's cartons, it's $2.30. So, you know, on the carton side, it's a little bit cheaper, $2.13 per box. Whereas here it's $2.30 per box. But the difference is with Flexport or Deliverr, they will actually send out cartons. So you only want maybe 10 cartons to go out. Whereas here with AWD, they're only going to send out on pallets. All right, so that's a big difference there. All right, so you have all of that. There's some labeling fees and things like that. And then you get to your transportation fees. And this is probably where the savings happen the most with AWD, because you already know what your transpo fee is going to be. It's going to be 85 cents per cubic foot if you're going into FBA, or it's going to be down here $1.65 per cubic foot if you're going anywhere else besides FBA. Over here, you're paying the $14 per pallet outbound or $2.30 per carton outbound, but then whatever your actual transportation fees, that's your freight fee, right? And you can use your own freight carrier, or you can use Deliverr's freight carrier, which is part of the Flexport network. I haven't seen the greatest of rates with Flexport's LTL. So, you know, you're going to pay a good bit more on your outbound transpo fees, in my opinion, with Deliverr. So what I have done is, in the example of this shipment, I actually built a spreadsheet in Excel because I wanted to add it all up, and because right now this shipment that I'm talking about is not hypothetical. It's set to be ready to leave China next Monday, April the 8th. And I got a decision to make about what to do here, okay? So I built this little spreadsheet here, and on the spreadsheet you can see that I have, broken it down. All right, so with Deliverr, I'm paying $650 plus $704 in palletizing for a total of $1,354. All right, now over here on the AWD side, they're not really so much charging me to inbound it, but I know that part of the outbound is going to be this $2.13 per carton. So this isn't exactly apples to apples, because here I'm including what it costs to label the cartons, and here I did not include the cost to label cartons because it depends on if I'm sending cartons or if I'm sending pallets. If I'm sending pallets, it's just $14 per pallet, which honestly doesn't move the needle in this equation for me. Now, storage is here, and it's based on, as you can see, some assumptions that I made. And I made assumptions, for example, at Deliverr, that is based on the pallets, that we had calculated the 44 pallets, I believe 44 at 25, yeah, 1,100 a month. All right, at AWD, it's a little cheaper in storage here because I'm paying, as you can see, I'm paying an average of about 19 cents per unit at AWD. And the way I calculated that is because I know that my unit of my widget, I know my widget is 0.5323 cubic feet. And I know that because it's at Amazon now, and I just go into Amazon and I pull my storage reports, and it shows me that ASIN, it shows me that product, and it's calculated that that widget takes 0.5323 cubic feet per unit, all right? And so I use the math here for AWD, and if I can come back here, I can see that the integrated rate is 36 cents per cubic foot per month, okay? So I simply came in and I said 36 cents per cubic foot, and my widget isn't one complete cubic foot, it's 0.5323. All right, so I'm paying 19.2 cents per unit in storage. So a little more savings there on the storage as compared to the palletization. But as these pallets go down, 25 per pallet, my storage starts to go down pretty dramatically as I get rid of pallets as opposed to units over on the AWD side. At the end of the day, both of these is pretty even. I'm not seeing any huge savings choosing one or the other. Finally here, I've got an outbound pallet fee of $14, where over here, I should have actually included this $2.13 per carton down here. It would have been a better way to do it. But I'm paying $14 per pallet plus freight, right? So this should say plus freight. Here, I'm paying $2.13 per carton, which I've calculated that up here, plus freight, which is what they call transportation charges. And so in this particular example, one pallet with 128 units, over here it would cost me $14 plus the freight charges. Over here, it's going to cost me 85 cents per cubic foot, which is $57.91. Plus, it's going to do this $2.13. And remember, there were 16 cartons plus another, 18.13 plus 18.13 per carton. All right. Either way, here I'm paying, less than $100 for this pallet to be shipped to Amazon FBA. Whereas here I'm paying 14 plus freight, and the freight's probably going to be around $100. It really just depends on how many pallets you're sending in at one time. At the end of the day, I think what you can see here is that they're very similar. I'm not saving a lot of money with one or the other. They're very similar. I think at the end of the day, probably AWD would be cheaper. Ultimately, the storage would be cheaper, and it would be really convenient to have AWD set on to automatically replenish, meaning that AWD is keeping my Amazon inventory at FBA stocked with no placement fees, with no risk of low inventory fees. All right, I'm immune to that because I'm using AWD. It gets a little more expensive to ship the product from Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, AWD, to some other third-party fulfillment network. But it's not awful. It's not bad at all. All right. Now, the other thing I didn't mention about Deliverr is they have the reserve storage, and everything I've shown you thus far is reserve storage. But they also have their own 3PL fulfillment network. I utilize that for eBay orders, for Shopify orders, and especially for Walmart orders, because Walmart doesn't allow you to fulfill Walmart orders with your Amazon inventory. And so I have found the Deliverr Flexport network to be great for fulfilling those, especially if you haven't fooled with setting up Walmart Fulfillment Services, WFS. It's a whole nother video to talk about that. So the transportation charge, if you're using Deliverr and you're in reserve storage and you want to move it from reserve storage into the Deliverr fulfillment network, which for Deliverr, for Flexport, that's akin to FBA, right? So on the Amazon AWD, if they move to FBA, there's a discounted outbound transportation price and they take care of that for you. All right, on the Deliverr side, if they move from reserve storage into their fulfillment network, that transportation cost is free. You still have to pay that like $14 per pallet processing fee, but that's it. And they do that for free. Also, Deliverr can hook up to your Amazon account and it can automatically recommend replenishment so that you keep sending to FBA, but that transportation is not free. So lots of decisions to make there. I'm 26 minutes into this video and I've gone through it all. I've shown you the numbers and honestly, I still haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. I've been doing this for a very long time, but I've yet to actually use AGL, Amazon Global Logistics. I'm in the process of getting a quote for that 40-foot container to go to AGL. I'm getting a little bit stumped on some of the importer of record and customs and duties paperwork, things like that. I've got an email into my AGL contact at Amazon. If we can get that hashed out, I will most likely do AGL. But one thing I'll promise you on this channel is I will keep you updated. This will be part 1. I'll let you know what decision I made in part 2, and we'll track it along and see how things go. All right, man, I just threw a ton of stuff at you, and you know, unless you're in the middle of bringing in a lot of inventory from China, this video probably wasn't super helpful for the everyday casual Amazon seller. But I hope that it shows you opportunities and options that you have when it comes to bulk storage of your product, okay? Because if you watch the video that I did just last week, I published it at a kind of an odd time. It didn't get a lot of plays, but go back and look on the channel. It says how to make money in e-commerce while on vacation. And the thumbnail is me standing on the ski slope, right? Standing on the ski slope, and I'm talking about how you can make money while you're snow skiing in Colorado or laying on the beach. And part of that strategy has to do with supply chain logistics and where you put your inventory, right? Because if your inventory is in your garage or it's in your owned warehouse where you're responsible for getting those orders shipped, and you either need employees to do that or you've got to be there yourself. Whereas if you allow Amazon to fulfill it through FBA or as a multi-channel fulfillment order, or you use a 3PL like Flexport or Deliverr, that's a game changer. And if you're not into buying a big warehouse to store 50 pallets full of merchandise that you just imported from overseas, having AWD or a 3PL like Deliverr is a game changer, and it's absolutely a necessity. I can tell you here where I live at the beach on St. Simon's Island, Georgia, on a resort island, there's not a lot of commercial warehouse space. And what is here is very difficult to get, and when you can get it, it's very expensive. So utilizing these 3PLs, such as AWD or Deliverr, that make it their business to send and receive shipments every day of bulk inventory, I highly recommend going that direction. Hey, if this was helpful, I always like to end by asking you to please subscribe to this channel. Although I've been doing the e-commerce gig for over 20 years, I've personally, helped to manage over $100 million in sales that I've generated across multi-channel marketplaces or with clients that we manage in our agency. I just started this YouTube channel. I just started it this year, and already hundreds of you are on board, and I'm so grateful. Every day, new subscribers are joining, and I'm seeing that you're liking the content and that you're leaving comments, and that's just lifeblood to me. I love it because I have the heart of a teacher. I have the gift of gab, like to talk. That's why my videos wind up being too long. But I really enjoy this. I thoroughly enjoy it. And I've heard, the saying, oh, people that can't do teach. Well, I do, and I teach. I do, and I'm still very active as a seller, a profitable seller. It's important to me. But I love teaching. I love sharing and building community on this channel. So you can be a part of that by simply hitting the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell. Say, hey, enable notifications for all new videos so that you know what's coming on here. Liking this video is huge. It only takes you a second. Even while I'm saying to this right now, just reach down there with your mouse click or your thumb and go boop, index finger, hit the like button, because that tells YouTube that you've engaged with this content. Hopefully they'll show you my content more. And it just helps the algorithm, especially when you do that. And finally, leave a comment. If you got no comment whatsoever about this video, it wasn't helpful or something like that, just leave a comment and say, hey, thanks. I'm listening from Philadelphia. I'm listening from Atlanta, something like that. Just threw out 2 baseball teams that are at war right now because I'm a big Atlanta Braves fan and really enjoyed beating the Phillies last night on the first day of Major League Baseball. That's a whole nother story, though. My point is, thanks for watching. It means a lot. And when you comment, I personally come and reply to these comments, try to help you as much as I can. If you need help, one-on-one coaching, one-on-one consulting, visit my website at ebusinessonline.com. That's e-businessonline.com. There's a hyphen there. Don't like the hyphen, but it is what it is. e-businessonline.com. You can email me, Fred, at e-businessonline.com. There's a booking calendar there. You can do a free 15-minute consult, or you can pay a little bit and have a full hour of my time or a half hour of my time. If you're interested in us taking over your Amazon account, maybe you've hit the wall. Maybe you don't know how to launch. Maybe you know it's time, but you haven't even started yet. And you want someone to come in and hold your hand and white glove, full service, just take care of it for you. That's what we live and breathe for. And we'd love to help you. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Anything we can do to help, let us know.